morning, my dear enthusiastic and very cheerful students and all the respected viewers. Welcome to the chapter number 6, Staffing. Now, you might see the slides here. The first slide here, it shows a person picking one particular individual from a group of people. And now you see the second slide, in which a person, he is looking or he is actually observing whom to select by using a magnifying glass, and there are a pool of persons. So, the explanation relating to these two slides I will give you a little later. Now, I would like to show the quotation of Mr. Narayan Murthy, a very well known person and all of you aware of him. He is the CEO of Infosys, but now he is retired, but still he is considered as the chairman emeritus. That means he is given the honor of being with the Infosys even today. Even though he is retired, he is considered being with the Infosys company. Now, he says our assets walk out of the door each evening. We have to make sure that they come back the next morning. In this particular quotation, you see our assets. The term assets, whom does he refer? And he expects that they return the very next morning. That shows the concern, because something valuable that has gone out of the company and he is expecting them back to his organization. By assets, he meant none other than the employees of the organization. You know that the success of any business, it is measured by way of two parameters. One is financial parameter. Financial parameter means the amount of the profit it has earned. Then so many other financial parameters are taken into consideration while measuring the success of a business. Similarly, there is another parameter that is called non-financial parameter, and human resources or the employees of an organization is considered as a non-financial parameter which measures the success of a business. Why so much importance is given to the human resource? Mr. Narayan Murthy, he has included the value of human resources in the balance sheet just like any other asset. What is the rationale behind it? What is the logic behind it? Because it is the only resource that gives in multiples. Now, you take into consideration any resource. Now, for example, raw material. Now, to produce 1 ton of raw material, 1 ton of sugar, you have to use 100 tons of sugar cane. Just look into the ratio of output and input. So, the input is 100 tons, whereas the output is 1 ton. Similarly, you take any resource for that matter, always your output is lesser than the input, but it is the only one resource, that is the human resource, which can give you multiple times. The output is more than its input, and that is why the value of human resource is very substantial when considering the value of other resources in the organization. And Narayan Murthy further, he says that the creativity or the innovation or the leadership or the entrepreneurial and managerial skills, they are all endowed in the employees of an organization. And his vision is that to give more and more importance to the employees. And not only that, he wanted to share his wealth with the employees because of the respect or the value that he has attached to the human resources. and his leadership style is very humble and yet very straightforward, which is very uncommon in the Indian business world. It is not only the example of Narayan Murthy, I can give you a list of various human resource leaders or the directors. There are so many successful companies in India, say Tata Consultancy Services, where it is headed by the global human resources at TCS. It is, the head is Ajayendra Mukherjee, and he is managing 3 lakh professionals, and he is able to tackle their daily challenges. And you have one more person, Nandita Gurjar. She is HR at Infosys, and she is considered as the most powerful women in India today. And you have Saurabh Govil. He is the Chief Human Resource Officer at Wipro. And who has not heard of Reliance Communication, where Rajan Datta, he is the President of HRA, and his aim is, remember, his aim is Happy People's Organization, to create Happy People's Organization by motivating all employees to work efficiently and productively. And you have K. Srivastava, Head of HR, HCL Corporation, and it is the Shivanadar Foundation. You will get to know about Shivanadar Foundation in the coming chapters, where a very good illustration is given about HCL company, and now the HR is headed by Srivastava. And the list is endless. We have another woman leader, Leena Nair. She is heading Hindustan Unilever, and Mandip Maitra heading HDFC Bank, and Abhijit Baduri, he is HR Director at Microsoft Corporation. So, this is a list of 10 big corporations where all the corporations are headed by very dynamic HR managers, and this is the success story of the company. It is not because of any other resources, it is mainly because the contribution of HR leaders, and all these leaders, they have got the maximum from their employees. And after listening to this, my dear students, why don't you think of becoming a HR manager or HR leader? And I will give you a small exercise after this class. You just go through some sites and find out all these the stories of all these HR leaders, and you can write an article on this, and you can publish on our wall magazine, and that becomes an inspiration not only to you but all your readers. And with this, I will come to the subject matter of this topic, staffing. In this particular chapter, you are going to study about the meaning and definition of staffing. You will also study about the need and importance of staffing. The major part of the importance I have already given you now in the introduction. And in this particular chapter, you are going to study the process of staffing. Staffing is not a single activity. It consists of series of activities, and that is why this is considered, staffing is considered as a process. You are going to study the meaning of this recruitment, selection, and identify the different sources of recruitment, and you are going to study the steps in the selection process, then about different training methods, on the job training method, off the job training method, then development programs, training and development. All these you are going to study in this particular chapter. And now I would like to give you an introduction of staffing. As already told you, growth of any organization depends on the quality of staff. Very high quality staff can bring success. Similarly, demotivated staff can bring failure to your organization. And that is why there is a need for the provision of appropriate resources or human resources in the organization at the right time. and your objective can be achieved only with the right person in the right position at the right time. Now, in the earlier chapter, organizing, you have studied about the structure of organization. Now, in the structure of organization, you create various positions, subordinates, who is superior, who is subordinate, all those structure of relationship between authority and responsibility. Now, you have created positions, and those positions will have to be filled. Filled by whom? Filled by the right person, and that is nothing but staffing. I can tell it in a very simple way. The meaning of staffing is, in the organization structure that you have created, those positions will have to be filled. So, filling the right person is nothing but staffing. Now, this staffing function, how does it begin? It begins with workforce planning, and it includes different functions. Workforce planning means you have to make an estimation. Which are all the vacant positions you have in the organization? You have to estimate, and after that you have to make recruitment. So, what is recruitment in detail? I will explain later. Recruitment is nothing but you are inviting as many prospective candidates as possible to your organization. So, recruitment. Next comes the selection. After recruitment, selection. So, recruitment is a positive activity where you are attracting more and more people to your organization, and out of a big pool of prospective employees, you have to select the appropriate candidates. All unwanted or all those which are not proper to your organization, you can eliminate. So, that is selection. So, this is a negative activity, I can say. So, recruitment, selection, and after that there is a need to train them. You have to give them training, because your requirement may be skilled labor or unskilled labor or semi-skilled labor. They are all new to the organization. They do not know anything about the work procedures, and that is why there is a need to train them. Similarly, development programs, you have to plan proper development program to plan their career. Next, you have to think of promotion policies. So, promotion is also another important activity of staffing. So, they should not become a stagnant water in your organization. They become, your employees become demotivated. So, to motivate them, there should be a very attractive promotion policies in your organization. And similarly, for the work done by them, you have to reward them properly. Rewarding, that means compensation. Compensation means not only just a salary or wages or any financial incentives that you give, it includes non-financial incentives as well. So, you have to have a very balanced compensation plan. And next is performance appraisal. So, once you give them work, after some time you have to see how they are at their work. Are they doing satisfactorily? So, you have to evaluate them, just like after the class your teachers, they give you an examination. Why do we conduct examination? It is nothing but performance appraisal. Similarly, in the organization, once the employees are appointed and after working for fairly 1 or 2 years, there is a need to evaluate their performance. So, that is performance appraisal. Now, I repeat, this staffing is not just a single activity, it is a process, and process means it is a series of activities which we conduct continuously one after another, and it begins with workforce planning. You can see there workforce planning, and that is followed by recruitment, selection, training, development, promotion, compensation, performance appraisal. Now, you have understood the meaning of staffing, and this meaning can also be understood in another way, only I make the changes in the words. Staffing is that part of the process of management. Hope you remember the meaning of management or definition of management. The management means it is not a single activity, you know it. There are various functions of management. Which are they? Planning, organizing, staffing, directing, motivating, it is included in the directing function, and then controlling. So, all these are the functions. Do you remember? So, staffing is also one of the functions of management. Management itself is a process, in that sub process is staffing. Hope you got it. So, staffing is that part of the process of management which is concerned with obtaining, utilizing and maintaining a satisfactory and satisfied workforce. Satisfactory and satisfied workforce. Now, I said it is concerned with obtaining. Obtaining is nothing but, I have already told you, recruitment and selection. What is it? You have to estimate your workforce, you have to recruit, you have to select. That is nothing but obtaining. After obtaining, you have to utilize them. You have to give them proper work according to their qualification, according to their expertise, according to their what is called experience. So, you have to utilize them. There should not be underutilization of your workforce. There should not be overutilization of your workforce. There should be optimum and ideal utilization of your workforce. And not only that, maintaining a satisfactory and satisfied workforce. So, your workforce or your employees should be well satisfied in your organization. Now, once again I go back to the words of Narayan Murthy. He had a fear that once the human resource, that once the employees go out of their organization, he expects them to come back. Why? Because there is a fear whether they will come back or not. What is the fear? Because there are competitive organizations who attract very workforce. Now, once in your organization you train your workforce, they become very valuable because they obtain extra skill, and there are other organizations who invite your trained employees and they give you more incentives. So, your trained employees may go to other organizations. When they go when they are not satisfied in your organization, and that is why if you do not want them to leave your organization, what you should do? You have to maintain, you have to give them satisfactory compensation packages, you have to motivate them, you have to create a feeling of belongingness to your organization, and you have to make a part of your family. That means you have to make them part of your organization, and in such cases your employees will never leave your organization. So, that is the aim or what is called the objective of staffing, and that is why I repeat now, this staffing is that part of the process of management which is concerned with obtaining, utilizing and maintaining a satisfactory and satisfied workforce. Here what you have to remember is every individual is a performer in your organization. You have to give importance to each and every employee. So, every individual is a performer and you have to have concern regarding each and every employee. Now, we have already made a very lengthy discussion on the importance of human resources or importance of staffing function. Now, once again I would like to tell you a few points regarding the importance of staffing. Now, staffing helps in discovering and obtaining competent personnel for various jobs. It helps in discovering and obtaining. So, you have to search for ideal, or you have to search for very talented or appropriate candidates to your organization. So, this staffing function helps in discovering or searching or finding out competent personnel for various jobs. You have got various jobs in organization and each job demands different skill, different experience, and that is why this is the function, staffing is the function which helps in discovering or in searching the competent personnel. Not only it helps in discovering, it also helps in obtaining as well. So, you have got different sources of recruitment through advertising or through online advertisements or through different, that we are going to study internal sources of recruitment, external sources of recruitment. All these will help you in finding and obtaining competent personnel. Now, the next importance, it makes for higher performance by putting right person for the right job. This is as much essential as you discover your employees. Once you obtain, you have to see that they are put in proper job, right person at the right job. That is very important. Only then they will give you their best, and you can get higher performance only when you appoint them at a place in which they are having talent or competency. Similarly, staffing ensures continuous survival and growth of the enterprise through continuous planning. Staffing is not one time job, or once you plan, once you appoint, the job does not end there. It is a continuous process. Now, you have studied in planning. Planning is a continuous process, it will never stop. Similarly, your staffing function of recruitment, selection, training, development, performance appraisal or compensation, whatever it is, they go on and on continuously. Some of the employees may leave your organization for some reasons, and similarly there will be a vacancy, and again you have to start with the recruitment. You have to start with the what is called, or you may have to give promotion to your employees, and you have to think of very attractive compensation plans. So, that is why this staffing is not a single activity, or it is not a one time activity. This is a process which goes on continuously in the organization, and the survival or the growth of organization depends on the staffing, because you have to estimate or you have to think ahead where there will be what is called vacancy. If your employees, some of the employees, when they retire, there should be second line of employees who are ready to assume that place, and that is why it is a continuous process, and the growth and survival of the organization is ensured by staffing function. Staffing helps to ensure optimum utilization of the human resources. There should not be underutilization of the staff. There should be optimum utilization. Similarly, there should not be overutilization of the human resources in your organization, and both are detrimental to the organization. Both underutilization and overutilization is detrimental to your organization. You have to have proper balanced use of human resources. And staffing improves job satisfaction and morale of employees through objective assessment and fair reward for their contribution. So, it should not moral, it should be morale, M-O-R-A-L-E, morale of employees. So, proper staffing, it gives job satisfaction, as I have told you, by fair compensation policy. There should not be any discrimination in the salary or the wages that you give, or there should be fair promotion policies in your organization, and objective assessment. There should not be any partial, there should not be any favoritism. If at all a human resource manager or the director, if he is partial to his employees, you can imagine what will happen in the organization. There will be dissatisfaction, and that will definitely affect the morale of the employees, and that is why a good staffing definitely improves job satisfaction and morale of employees through objective assessment and fair reward for their contribution. And now we shall discuss about the staffing as a process. And before that, I would like to give a very short explanation regarding how this staffing is related to human resource management. How staffing is related to human resource management. You might have heard the usage when I have sometimes I have used as staffing, sometimes I have used as human resource management. Those terms I have used very interchangeably. Now, staffing, usually this is a term which is used in a very narrow sense. And I have told you all the functions here. Staffing means all those estimating the manpower requirements, and then the recruitment, selection, all those I have told you. Whereas human resource management recognizes the human element in the organization. In a very small organization, the staffing means all these are included, and it is done by a particular manager, one single person. Everything will be done because the need is less here, the number of employees required is less. But whereas as the organization grows, the complexity also grows. The job positions also vary, or the vacancies or the jobs also vary. The competency required to handle the job successfully, or the technical knowledge, all those become very complex. In such cases, the compensation part or the training part cannot be looked after by one single individual. In that case, there should be a separate department to look after all these activities which I have mentioned in the staffing process, and there comes human resource management. And staffing is only a part of human resource management. Hope you have understood this, and now I would like to explain the staffing process in detail. And this is a very interesting topic, as I already told you, and this is the topic in many of the question papers we get this question, explain the staffing process, and this is a very favorite question among the question paper setters as well. Now, let me explain you this staffing process. Now, the first function of staffing is estimating the manpower requirements. How can you estimate your manpower requirement? How can you estimate it? So, this estimation is done with the help of organization structure. And this organization structure, there are different types of organization structure you have studied in your earlier chapter. So, that gives you an idea how many employees are needed, what is the number of your workforce, whether they are semi-skilled or skilled or unskilled. All these information you get from the organization structure. Now, you have understood your manpower requirement. Now, this manpower requirement necessitates two important aspects. One is workload analysis, and the second one is workforce analysis. One is workload analysis and the second one is workforce analysis. Now, we shall see what is this workload analysis. Workload analysis is nothing but assessment of number and type of human resources necessary for the performance of various jobs and accomplishment of objectives. Now, you have got a set of objectives. To achieve those objectives, what is the type of human resources you need, and what are the various types of jobs That is nothing but workload analysis. Now, the second analysis is workforce analysis. Now, workforce analysis reveals the number and type of human resources available in your organization. Hope you understood. Workload analysis gives you an idea of your requirement considering the various jobs, and workforce analysis reveals the number and type of human resources available in your organization. Now, there you get a gap whether your human resources, the available human resources are more or less. So, workload analysis and workforce analysis helps you in estimating the manpower requirements. Now, this study, workforce analysis and workload analysis, it reveals three situations. One, situation of understaff. So, your available workforce is much more than the workload analysis, that is called a situation of over staffing. If your available human resources are less, then that means it is a situation of understaff, and if both are same, it is a situation of optimum staff. As already told you, both understaff and overstaff are detrimental to your organization. If there is overstaff, what are you going to do? You cannot send them home, isn't it? So, you have to think of some transfer or some you have to search for additional jobs, so that those employees are they are utilized properly. On the other hand, if there is understaff, now you have to take the steps of for recruitment. So, now there is a demand, now you have to attract, or as I said, recruitment. You have to see that you take up the steps of staffing, different, I told you, recruitment, selection and all those, that process you have to begin if there is understaff. Now, if it is a situation of optimum staff, you are in a very ideal condition. Now, this manpower requirement, after making all this study, next is you have to make specific job description. Now, what kind of job are available? What does the job demand, whether the job is technical job, or is it an administrative job, or it is a shop floor job, all those you have to make a job description. And to undertake those jobs, you have to chalk out the desirable profile of its occupant. Now, the prospective employees or the prospective candidates should have the desirable qualification, educational qualification or additional technical qualifications, or in some areas you need the experience. So, these things you have to chalk out, what are the desirable profile of the prospective employees. So, this is actually all the activities involved in the first activity of staffing process, that is estimating the manpower requirements. Now, the second step in the staffing process is recruitment. What is recruitment? Recruitment is a process of searching for prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for jobs in the organization. Now, you have to search where are the appropriate candidates for the job that you have described. Not only that, you have to make them apply to your organization, and later on you have to go for the next step, that is called selection. Now, in the recruitment, what you are going to do is you are attracting as many candidates, prospective candidates as possible. You have to create a pool of prospective job candidates. Why there is a need to create a pool of prospective candidates? Because you are going to select the best from them. Only if the pool is big, you will have a wider choice, isn't it? So, if your pool is very small or the number of candidates who have applied is a very small, you will not get more choice, and that is why you have to give advertisements, you have to give the information of vacancies in your organization in different media you have to give, and you have to give a what is called this message to all the places like recruitment. There are different recruitment sources are there, so that we will discuss later. But here your objective is to see that as many candidates as possible should apply to your organization. And here you can tap all the recruitment sources of recruitment we say. Internal sources, that means within the organization, and external sources. External sources means it could be educational institution or the employment exchanges or through advertisements or at the factory gate. There are so many sources are there. So, those sources which is the most suitable, you have to tap those sources in order to get as many candidates as possible. And for the recruitment process, your earlier step, that is called a job description and creating job profile, will help you. So, while giving the advertisement, you have to describe the job, what type of job available in your organization, and for that which type of employees are suitable, what should be their educational qualification, what should be their experience, what should be their age. Those things you have to specify so that right candidates will apply for the jobs in your organization. And next we move on to the next step in the staffing process, that is a selection. As already told you, recruitment is a positive step, whereas selection is a negative step. So, selection, what is selection? It is the process of choosing from among the pool of the prospective job candidates developed at the stage of recruitment. So, recruitment has given you a big pool of prospective candidates. Now, what is your job? You have to select the best. Now, I would like to recall your memory regarding my first two slides, where a HR manager is picking one particular individual from a group of prospective employees there. So, it is not an easy job. How do you select? How will you come to know who is best? So, that will have to be done now in the selection process, and this selection process is generally very rigorous, or it is very rigorous. Selection process is very rigorous because if your selection process is bit tough, it has got two advantages. The first advantage is it ensures that the organization gets the best among the pool of prospective employees, because you have to make various, you have to conduct various types of tests, you have to conduct interviews, you have to conduct a physical examination, all that. So, at each stage you can eliminate those candidates which do not fit into your job description and job profile that you have created. So, each step helps you in eliminating unwanted or which are not appropriate candidates for you. And that is why this selection process should be difficult. When it is difficult, there are two advantages. One is you get the best, your organization get the best among the prospective candidates. And the second advantage is that it enhances the self-esteem and prestige of those selected. Now, everybody, now those who have become IAS officers and all that, they have a pride, they have a self-esteem. Why? Because they have occupied that post or position not easily. It is because they have undergone various rigorous selection procedure, and that is why it gives them self-esteem and prestige So, these are the two advantages when you have a very difficult or very what is called tedious, very difficult and a very what is called careful selection procedure. And the next fourth step in staffing process is placement and orientation. So, whether placement first or orientation first, anyway let us see. First I would like to give you the meaning of placement. Now, in the first step you have estimated, in the second step you have made recruitment, and in the third step you have selected the best. You have eliminated all those which are not appropriate and you have selected the best. So, selection you have selected and you have to now place them in the job for which they are selected. So, placement refers to the employee occupying the position for which he has been selected. It is very simple. Now, you are putting him in the right job. That is nothing but placement. Now, orientation. Now, before you show them his place of work, before you place him, give him the place or the position, what you have to do? You have to do orientation. What is this orientation? Orientation is nothing but introducing the selected employees to other employees and to the organization as well. Now, you might remember your experience after the completion of your SSLC or the 10th standard, many of you have gone to a new college to get admission in your first PUC, some new college. And before going to that college, you had lots of apprehension regarding the college, because you are totally, you know nothing about the new college. You will not be knowing who will be your classmates, who can become your friends. You do not know what are the rules and regulations of the organization. So, you will have lots of confusion, or what are the facilities that the college is giving. So, at that time your college might have arranged an orientation program for the new students. Do you remember that orientation program? So, you were made familiar to the college, and from that day onwards you get a different feeling. Yes, I belong to this college, it is my college, that feeling you have got. Similarly, here also for the new employees, they do not know much about the company in which they are going to join, or they do not know who will be their employees, who will be their team members. They do not know much about the company's rules and regulations. They do not know about the policies of the company. So, they are also having lots of confusion and apprehension regarding the new workplace. And that is why, to eliminate that particular feeling, this orientation program is conducted for the new employees. So, this is a program where they are introduced to the other employees and they are made familiarized with the rules and policies of the organization. Hope you have understood this. And now, we shall go to the next step in the staffing process, that is the fifth step, that is training and development. As I already told you, the new employees are new to the job. They may not have proper skill to exercise their work. They may be having an excellent track record of their degrees, many degrees, but they are new to the organization, they are new to the work. And that is why you have to inculcate those skills in them to work better or to work maximum, so that you can increase the productivity of their work. So, training is a systematic learning which enhances employee productivity in terms of quantity and quality, leading to higher profits. So, if you appoint anyone without training, what will happen? They will commit mistakes. When the mistakes are committed, there will be loss of resources. When there are losses of resources, there will be loss to the organization, and that is why to give them confidence, to give confidence to your workers, to minimize this wastage, to improve the productivity, training is very, very essential. And that is why before they actually start their work, you have to give them proper training. So, it gives them confidence. Training increases employee morale and reduces absenteeism. So, they will have a great interest in doing their work, because they become expertise now. After getting the training, they know exactly what is to be done, how they can minimize their wastages, all those things they come to know, and it improves their skills and knowledge, leading to better career of the individual. Now, training improves, or it increases an intrinsic value of the employee. So, in the job market, his value increases, because the other company is now ready to hire that individual. Why? Because he is already trained and he is a valued employee now. So, they are all the benefits of training. And now the development. So, there is a difference between training and development. So, development means it is a program that is planned by the organization for the proper career planning of their employees. And in this development programs, it not only improves the job performance in the present job, the employees are capable of undertaking any job in the future with higher responsibility. That is the development program, and that gives maturity to their employees and actualization of their potential capacities. So, there is a difference between training and development programs. And now, the next step involved in staffing process is performance appraisal. I have already given you the example of examination conducted by your teachers. Here also, when an employee works for a particular period of time, the need arises regarding how well he is managing his work, what is his performance. Usually in the organization, a standard is set. Now, in your examination, your teacher says, I fix 60% as the standard. Those who score less than 60% will have to write answers to the question paper. Have you understood? So, that 60% is the standard. Similarly, even in the organization also, a standard is fixed for all the employees. And those who reach that standard, or those who do not reach that standard, or those who exceed that standard, so all those grades can be given under this performance appraisal. So, performance appraisal means evaluating an employee's current and or past performance as against certain predetermined standards. So, a standard is fixed and his work is compared with the standard fixed. It includes defining the job, appraising performance and providing feedback. So, the employees are given feedback, just like you are given the marks card after the examination. It is nothing but we are giving the feedback regarding your performance, and by looking at the feedback you realize whether I am reaching that standard fixed or not, whether my performance is satisfactory or not. Similarly, here also the employees will get to know their standard of work, their performance they come to know, and they definitely take steps to improve their performance. Now, the seventh step in staffing process is promotion and career planning. Now, promotion refers to being placed in positions of increased responsibility. The work should not be routine for the employees, so that they get demotivated. Only when there is opportunities for promotion, they work better, because promotion not only gives them better compensation, and also it gives them better positions, higher authority in the organization structure. So, the employees will get more pay, their responsibility will be more, and that results in greater job satisfaction, and that is why human resource management should do career planning for their employees. And finally, the last step in staffing is compensation. So, compensation means reward to the employees. It refers to all forms of pay or rewards going to employees. There can be this compensation I can split in two. One is direct financial payments, another is indirect payments. Now, in the direct financial payments, all that wages, salaries, incentives, commissions, bonus, all they come under financial payments. And the indirect payments are management may give you the insurance coverage, or they may give you paid vacations. They may ask you, okay, you have worked enough, you take a break 1 week, you just go to any place, relax and come back. So, this is an indirect payment, we can say, financial indirect compensation. And direct financial payments, there are two types. One is time based plan, another is performance based plan. In the time based plan, salary or wages are paid based on the time. It can be daily payment, it can be weekly payment, or it can be monthly payment. Performance based plan means the wages are paid according to the piece work. Piece work means according to the number of units produced. For each unit they fix a particular payment. So, that is called performance based plan. Now, an organization can adopt either of these two, or they can have their own attractive plan, or they can come out with a combination of time based pay plus incentives for higher performance. Those who reach higher standards, the management may have some incentives for that work. So, with this I have completed staffing process. Thus, we see that staffing as a process includes acquiring of the employees, then retaining them, development, then performance appraisal, then promotion and compensation. In this acquisition, both things, that is called recruitment selection comes. In the retention process, you find that the training and all such things, then development, performance appraisal, promotion, compensation. So, I hope the class is interesting to you, and I would like to remind you, I have given you a small exercise where you have to search in the Google and make a list of some HR leaders who have contributed outstandingly to the success of an organization. So, you can make a list of 10 best HR leaders. Thank you.